So I wanted to make sure that I didn't just rush to make a reaction video when it comes to the reports that Microsoft is essentially going third party in a way to where many of their big games will be coming over to competing platforms, or at least formerly competing platforms with PlayStation and Nintendo. Now, we already got some reports and winds of this back with Hi-Fi Rush. There was many reports about that. We've actually already seen Microsoft's games that they own, whether it be through an acquisition later or just simply games that they published from an independent developer standpoint, come over to Nintendo and PlayStation systems before in the past as well. But more notably, games like Ori, for example, coming over to the Nintendo Switch, and Cuphead. Those are games that Microsoft published from a first-party development standpoint, but came over to other platforms. But things have gotten a lot more interesting when it comes down to this, because now Microsoft has apparently these massive plans to shift their whole business strategy, or at least put their next plan into phase when it comes down to it, and people have plenty of opinions. And in this video, I don't want to sit there and say haha or whatever the case is, right? The whole console war angle, that's not necessarily my goal. My goal is to look at it rationally, analyze from a business perspective, and also give my 2 cents in terms of what we could see on the Nintendo fan front and what's going forward in the future, and also what's in store for Microsoft, what's in store for Sony, and how this will have a major effect and impact on the gaming industry as a whole. So I think I have some pretty good insight to add. Now, before we get into everything here, what's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell for more awesome videos. Now, let's first start off with the reports. So Xbox Era first reported that this is an exclusive that they had. Microsoft plans Starfield for release for the PlayStation 5. A change in strategy is upon us. Read all about it there. So you can check it out on Xbox Era. And then that was backed up by Nate the Hate. Shout outs to Nate the Hate from the Spawncast, also the Nate the Hate podcast. Great podcast as well. And he states that this report is accurate. Starfield will land on PlayStation. I've heard similar, but opted to wait on reporting this information until the PS5 release timeline was finalized. As the report states, the PS5 release will come after the arrival of the expansion DLC on Xbox and PC. Now, we also have Tom Warren, who's also plugged in with the Microsoft and Xbox gaming news, starts talking about different things as well. He also backed up what Xbox Era was saying with multiple different tweets. He also gave a scoop of his own, saying that Microsoft is considering bringing Indiana Jones to PS5 several months after the Xbox/PC release. It's part of a new Xbox strategy inside Microsoft that's emerging. Details below, so you can check that out as well. Also, Tom Warren added this, saying, worth stressing that Microsoft considering Xbox exclusive games for PS5 doesn't mean they will 100% launch, but it does show a big shift in Microsoft's Xbox strategy is emerging. Hi-Fi Rush looks set to be one of the first, but the question remains on how many others and when. This is all interesting because I do think that overall Microsoft's strategy here could prove to be really bad in the long run, but at the end of the day, if you look at everything that they could be doing here, I personally feel that they are going to have an infinite, or they could have an infinite money glitch, like a dragon, infinite wealth, like Microsoft, $1 trillion infinite wealth for the Xbox division. So there could be more to it with that. Now, I do want to get into some of the perspectives when it comes to, just briefly, when it comes to why somebody would be upset with this. I think that Gene Park from the Washington Post had a phenomenal tweet and also other tweets talking about this with fans on Twitter. And he quote tweeted Nate the Hate and said this: why are people getting mad their game is on a different plastic box? That's what people were saying in the chat. And that's what I've seen other people say as well. Why are you getting mad about that? What does it matter? Well, Gene Park has a good response saying, because if $500 meant a lot to me, I'd be salty to invest it on the plastic box that only had Starfield, but not Final Fantasy VII Remake and Spider-Man. Instead, I could have spent it on that box that does. So I think that's the unsung thing here. A lot of us, or many many of us or people online or content creators have a little bit of disposable income in order to spend on multiple different platforms and systems, where some people might not be as fortunate. So if you've invested all of your money, or not all, but if you've invested quite a bit on that and you want stuff to come there, then all of a sudden everything's coming to somewhere else, you obviously could have invested that $500 into something else and got a box that plays everything that you want to play outside of course, PC, which doesn't get everything day and date, but gets a lot of stuff. So I think that's the biggest issue there. Now, also Jez Corden from the Windows Central website, he's talked about how, oh, well, if Microsoft goes away, console manufacturer, that your digital library goes with it. But obviously Microsoft is heavily tied with PC, so I think they'd find some type of way. But I also think that these people, when it comes to Windows Central or when it comes to the Xbox 2 podcast, shout outs to them, shout outs to the Xbox people, but a lot of them were all about digital. A lot of them are all about Game Pass. A lot of them are all about these type of things and not having physical games. So if that does happen, you only have yourself to blame for pushing no physical games, for pushing all digital, for pushing Game Pass and rental ownership and not having true physical copies. You guys are the only one to blame for that. So if that happens, I don't really feel too bad for people that constantly push the you don't need physical, then complain when potentially all that can go up in smoke later down the line. So just something to think about when people try to push all digital or all Game Pass and all of that in the future. Now, the big thing about this here, guys, let's talk about it a little bit more from the Nintendo perspective. And I think this is going to be a nice bulk of what I'm thinking, right, in terms of some of my unique insight that I can give to this. So I think that Microsoft, when they look at Nintendo, when they look at Sony, but specifically Nintendo, there's so much money to be made, and they've seen it firsthand. They saw what Minecraft does on the Nintendo Switch. That, from what I understand, is still the highest revenue version of Minecraft, because Minecraft is on Xbox Game Pass, right? So they don't really make too much off of that outside of microtransactions or whatever they do on there. Obviously, PlayStation, Minecraft is big on there, but it's not as big as it is on the Nintendo Switch. So Nintendo Switch has a huge base of people who outright buy Minecraft for $30, right? And then they buy like the Super Mario pack and other things. So they've made millions upon millions of dollars just on the Nintendo Switch alone with something like Minecraft. They've sold, I think, 2 million plus copies in Japan physical indie retail. That's unheard of for a Microsoft game, right? So they're making money hand over fist when it comes to Minecraft on Nintendo platforms. So they see that potential. Then if you look at something like the Ori games, or if you look at Cuphead, those sold millions of copies between the two on the Nintendo Switch at pretty much full price. Now, there's been some discounts here and there, but overall, if you look at the physical copies of Ori, you look at Cuphead, you look at what's going on there, Microsoft made a bunch, millions, and those studios benefited greatly from having a Xbox game, at least originally, and on the Nintendo Switch. So if you just look at those two examples, or more like three examples, that is so much money. And at the end of the day, Microsoft is looking to make that money overall. They are really looking for it because of what we're going to get into with their investments. If you look at it also, what else could be coming over that I think that Microsoft sees incredible potential? And the CEO of Microsoft, right? The heads of Microsoft, the people who are making a lot of the big decisions above Phil Spencer, they see infinite potential when it comes to Nintendo fans buying full price games, or even PlayStation fans buying full price games. They see that because they don't have the Game Pass structure and, I would say, conditioning built into their minds that I just have the subscription and I just get these games. I get everything. A lot of PlayStation and Nintendo fans will buy things outright, even if it's $70 or $50 or $40, whatever the MSRP is. A lot of them will buy it right then and there, and that is a ton of revenue. But I think that games like Lost Odyssey, games like Blue Dragon, games like the next Banjo-Kazooie, all of those could literally become multi-million selling franchises if they were put on the next Nintendo Switch, if they were put on PlayStation, like combined together. I think that is a huge potential, especially for making inroads in Japan. If you repackaged Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon, Nintendo Switch 2, PlayStation, and you charged $70 for that in terms of each game, I mean, not everyone's going to rush out there and buy it, but I think that would be a multi-million seller for both PlayStation and Nintendo, or at least just overall cumulative sales, that would be huge. And that would bring in a lot of revenue, and that would bring in a lot more value overall. Microsoft's already worth $1 trillion, and the Xbox game division already makes a lot of money, but this puts it on a whole other level if you start adding that into Minecraft and you start adding that into other things. And I think the big thing here would be Halo, something like Halo Infinite or whatever the next Halo is, and you have that on Switch 2 and you have that just front and center to where you can play that Halo experience. I think once again, that can become something really massive to where a lot more people get involved in the Halo brand, especially if you're looking to make more of some inroads in Japan, which Microsoft has tried to do and not really had too much success. But this would be a very big success plan for them to become one of the top publishers or a big publisher in Japan and make so much more money, which their investments in lots of other things demand them to make a lot of money. It's not just about having some money or doing some things. It's about making a ton of money because of the investments that you have made across your whole business. Another major thing to note here is that Microsoft's Game Pass numbers haven't been expanding and increasing as much as they have wanted them to. I think that if Microsoft had 60, 70, or 80 million Game Pass subscribers across Xbox and PC, then we might not be seeing this. But it's the fact that the Game Pass model has been stagnating overall is probably a big factor to why all of this is happening. So I think that's also part of it. Now, the overall goal for Microsoft, what is this all about? I do think that the Activision and Bethesda acquisitions actually caused some of this, if not all of this, because when you buy something for $7 billion, you buy something else for $70 billion, those are huge investments into an ecosystem, into products and everything. And when your system itself isn't at that same level of the investments that you make, right? So 70 billion, almost going on 100 billion worth of acquisitions, probably like 100 billion over the last number of years, right? You need to be able to generate that and generate it at a high clip. And you're not going to be doing that only being on PC and Xbox. And if your main platform, Xbox, can't really sell up to snuff, which we've seen, it's just getting smoked by the PlayStation 5 and the Nintendo Switch. Even the Switch, a 7-year-old system at this point, is smoking the Xbox Series in sales, and it's down year on year, pretty much every year for the past few years, right? So the fact that they are having trouble selling the system, you can't keep beating your head against the wall over and over and over and losing or not doing as well with these type of investments. You can do it when you're not investing that type of money, but you can't do it when you have these type of investments totaling over $100 billion if you date back to the Xbox One era where they retooled everything. So if you look at everything, you have to make sure that you're on platforms that push what you want to do. And with these investments, you're going to have to release on multiple different things. You're going to have to expand the business because yes, they have a lot of money. Yes, they make a lot of money, but that's what big companies that are worth $1 trillion, they want to say, hey, we're making even more money on top of that. And only having on Xbox and only having on PC isn't going to get you where you need to go or where you want to go based off of the investments that they've already made. So it's restricted. Having it only on Xbox is a restricted platform because you're just simply not going to have the market share of Nintendo or PlayStation. So they felt, at least Microsoft's, if this is all true, they felt that they needed to do this because 30 million consoles for the Xbox series of systems is not good enough. So that's kind of my thought process, but I wanted to kind of just go into a little bit more of my own personal things with this because I see, obviously the thumbnail and all that, but I think that Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon, these are things that it would be exciting to have off of the Microsoft platform because they don't make those games anymore, right? Like they're not probably going to make another Lost Odyssey. Blue Dragon's probably done. They tried it. There was an anime, there was other things, and they actually had Blue Dragon, those Blue Dragons games like on Nintendo hardware in the past. So it's not like it'd be something that wouldn't be too out of place. But to me, Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey are the most exciting things to come out of this, and I know that's not the case for everybody, but from a big, obviously, JRPG fan and someone like myself, and I think a lot of you guys as well, these are two of the finest RPGs that, to me, are some of the best. I think that Blue Dragon would fit right at home on the Nintendo Switch 2, on the Nintendo Switch. So if they were able to bring these games over, that's just super exciting. And I'm not sitting here and saying that I have to port everything over to Nintendo or have this type of mindset or anything like that. Like, I have an Xbox Series X. I have a PC where I'm starting to play more games on there and enjoying it quite a bit. And I like playing games on other systems that I have, whether it's PlayStation or whatever the case is. So there's this conception that I only like Nintendo and it has to be Nintendo. And that's absolutely not the truth, considering I play games across so many different platforms. But I think that it's exciting for people who obviously don't have the same situation as I have, or people who have never gotten an opportunity or chance, or maybe weren't even alive when Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon were a thing and popular, and Microsoft has pretty much buried those. And this is an opportunity to once again make a ton of money and fit what they need to do. And what they need to do is generate a ton of money, because they've spent $100 billion just on acquisitions in the past, like what, 6-7 years? They've spent so much on acquisitions. So you need to generate billions of dollars, and Microsoft just having PC and Xbox just simply isn't enough, especially when you have lofty goals. So my takeaways are this. One, Microsoft is doing this because of the investments that they've made. Two, I don't think, and I didn't say this before, but two, I don't think Microsoft is going to stop making hardware overall. I mean, they could sometime in the future, but I think that it would be good for them to still have their own box that says, hey, this is the Xbox, it has Game Pass, it has these games. Some of these games might even be sooner on the Xbox compared to other platforms. And hey, if you want one, you can still buy it. You can still buy this, it's no problem. So I do think that. 3, Nintendo fans, there could be some cool stuff for us when it comes to Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon, and that would be really good for those franchises and could even reinvigorate and bring them back from the dead if you put it out on those platforms, as we've seen with Minecraft making crazy money. Obviously that wasn't dead, but made a lot of money. And the Ori games, obviously that was huge for Moon Studios to get all of that revenue, and also Cuphead as well. So overall, those are kind of the things that I feel that are the main points with this. And I think that at the end of the day, while it might be upsetting to core or hardcore Microsoft fans, it's one of those things to where we can't really affect this. Nothing's going to change because of the things that have happened, and they're going to go with this strategy. But once again, an infinite money glitch. I mean, that's another point that I have. An infinite money glitch could happen. Microsoft could become the biggest publisher in the world within the next 5 to 10 years if they play all of their cards right. So we'll see what happens. But what are your thoughts overall on this, guys? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, that wraps it up for this one here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other videos right here on screen. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.